Ciao, hello, welcome back, cycling people. I'm going to do a review of a new saddle I just got hold of. It's from Prologo. I haven't seen any reviews of it online really, not in video form, and apart from all the normal magazine marketing shite. So I'm going to do a quick review. It's a Prologo Nack Dimension 143, and it's like the new Shimano Stealth or Specialized Power range of saddles where they've gone for a shorter nose and a slightly wider platform, and of course the essential penile relief cavity is built in. So I've used it for around 200 kilometers and I like it because I haven't even noticed it. Now, a sign of a good cycling product, I think, is if you can't notice it, it's doing its job. On the contact points, you know, it's comfortable if you can't notice it. A thumbs up from me already. So let's have a little look. Right, I just put the camera in manual focus and I couldn't figure out how to change it. So here we go then. Yeah, it's got a stubby nose. It's got carbon rails. This is the top of the range one. I think there is one available without carbon rails. These carbon rails are oversized, but they do fit on my seat post. You have to check if carbon rails fit your seat post because the diameter is a bit bigger on some saddles. So you've got standard kind of like fiber reinforced plastic base. It's not carbon fiber epoxy composite. It's a plastic reinforced with long fiber carbon base, and then you've got some padding and then like what they call a microfiber topping. So as you can see, it's got quite a big cutout for blood flow and sensations, prolonging those sensations.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Post-ride, during the ride,
oh, yeah.
and
Let him see.
in fatherhood. So I think that's quite important. Normally I ride a saddle without a cutout, and actually I went away from riding cutout saddles a few years ago because I thought they were taking so much area out of the sitting area that more pressure was then going on the sit bones, and I was getting like hot sit bones and burning feeling on long ride. But I wanted to try one again because, you know, you've got to keep the old chap working in good state. So they claim it's 143 wide. I've measured it. The widest point across it is 150, which is from sort of this wing to wing, if you like. It's 150. So it is a bit wider than they say, and length is 240 millimeters, which is quite a lot shorter than most saddles out there at 280, I think 290. Because of the large cutout, there is quite a lot of like flex in the base. Not that obviously you can just see me indenting the foam, but actually the base is quite flexible. So when you come forward and sit here on the saddle, you sit actually on the V of your sit bones here. Your sit bones are in that kind of shape. And instead of kind of sitting, actually we never actually really sit like that, bolt up on our sit bones, on the points of our sit bones. Most of us actually sit kind of with the V shape of our sit bones resting on the saddle. And yeah, because of that flex, it makes it quite comfy. One thing I noticed about this is that we have a trend now where lots of riders are kind of slamming their saddles forward to alleviate, you know, lots of seat post extension and quite a relaxed seat tube angle, and the riders are bringing their saddle forward to get the long and low position more comfortable. And especially pro riders, you can see it in the peloton where like 10 years ago they would be slamming them back, now they're putting them forward. And I like what Prologo have done because they've noticed this. They've offset the rails, or like the midpoint of the rails, further towards the rear of the saddle. So what does that do? It means when you clamp the middle of the saddle on the bike, naturally the sitting area of the saddle is offset further forward. So you don't have to go all the way forward on the rails. They've kind of shifted the rails back relative to the sitting area, almost like a time trial saddle. And that means, yeah, the rails are still working properly. You do get naturally a bit more suspension from the rails because you've still got that unsupported length at the back where your load is coming down. So yeah, at the moment I really like the saddle. It's pretty light. I haven't weighed it. I'm normally a bit funny about Prologo, but I've not got on with their saddles in the past, but this is completely different to their normal range. Yeah, one other thing that's probably worth noting is that, let's just compare it to the saddle I was riding. You can see it's a little bit longer. Roughly the same width, but obviously there's no cutout on this one. This is a fabric scoop flat. This was like 40 quid, it's the cheapest one. And don't get me wrong, this saddle is really, really comfortable, but I think this is kind of cheating its way to comfort, unlike the Prologo is probably more like ergonomically correct. in terms of comfort with the cutout and everything. This one is just plain squishy. The base is really, really squishy. So over bumps and rough roads, this is really good, but obviously it doesn't have the cutout. So in terms of that kind of perennial relief zone, it's probably not quite correct for you. Yeah, it's a bit of a cheat saddle, but for short rides and, you know, if you're going like gravel riding or whatever you do, like mountain biking, this would be perfect. The other thing about changing saddles is obviously don't forget to measure the stack height. So I actually had to raise the seat post by around 7 to 8 mil when I put this new saddle on, because the stack height was slightly lower. All you have to do is just put them upside down on a flat surface and measure the height to the rails next to each other, because this actually the stack height of this saddle is pretty low. So yeah, all in all, I really like this saddle. I was quite surprised. I thought it was going to be too hard and not enough sitting area because of the cutout, but I have to say, I'm probably not going to go back to my fabric, what's it called, fabric scoop, just yet, because I really like this, and it means I can get a little bit lower at the front, and I don't have that, you know, that sort of, oh shit, pressure point feeling that you do sometimes if you're on the drops and you catch a bump. Anyway, so yeah, if you like this review, don't forget I've got plenty more bike related stuff and reviews on my channel, so don't forget to like and subscribe so I can hit the 1K sub, hit the monetization threshold. Cheers, bye!